And welcome once again to the Thrifty Collector. Today we're going to talk about Eric Dickerson. I did send Eric Dickerson, I believe it's a $10 or $20 donation to get him to sign a card. What I usually like to do is I do put the cards, and I'm going to go to this first. I do like putting the cards in the top loader when I send it to him. And I and sometimes know whose card is whose when I get them in the mail before I even open them. And when I noticed that he didn't use my card saver to help keep the card protected, I was like, oh, this thing's going to look like it went through bicycle spokes. But surprisingly, this card made it great through the mail with absolutely no protection in it. Now, this is Eric Dickerson's rookie card. He had a monster year that year. He actually owns the record in the NFL for the most yards gained in a season. And Eric had another interesting career to that. And one thing I forgot about is he actually played till 1993, and I had forgotten that he was actually on the Atlanta Falcons that year. But he went from the Rams to the Colts, and then played 1 year with the Raiders and 1 year with the Falcons. Six-time Pro Bowler, most yards rushing in a season. I believe it's 2,105. Now, you could say that's not the most in professional football history because Herschel Walker gained more yards, but it was with the USFL. And that's part of the problem with the NFL. They don't recognize the USFL records, kind of like what they did to the AFL guys or what the NBA does to the ABA. So these bigger leagues kind of devour the smaller ones, but don't keep any of the records on that. And we just had a good conversation about how Herschel Walker should be in the Hall of Fame, because if you take his 2 years with the Generals, they were monstrous, and he had some monstrous years also while in the NFL. But if you get a chance, you can pick up one of these cards at a good price. It's a great card to have. He is a great signer. It's kind of interesting how with the E, it was almost like he wanted to do something but changed his mind. I don't know what happened there, but I will eventually probably get this one slab by Beckett, and probably not PSA. Not a big PSA fan when it comes to their slabbing autographs. I prefer Beckett a lot more. I don't like that trading card, or if you wanted to actually have what the card is, you have to get the card graded. Where if you're sending stuff off to auction houses or private signings or to the player, your card's not going to really come out as a Gem Mint 10, and unfortunately, that's what card guys got to have. So Eric Dickerson was a big fan of his as a kid, especially that I believe it was his second year that he did the 2,105 yards. So if you can get some of his, get him, pick him up. Great player, almost a forgotten player. When people talk about the greatest running backs of all time, you never really hear them talk about Dickerson, and he just had a great year. He played with the Rams, which was part of the problem, and then he played with the Colts, which is also part of the problem. And by the time he got to the Raiders, he was a little bit long in the tooth, so he was probably at least in his 30s by then. So everybody have a great one. Stay thrifty.